Do you ever wonder where all your money goes each month? You're not alone. A zero based budget can help. Unlike traditional budgeting, zero based budget gives every dollar a job. So your income minus your expenses equals zero. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Joe, a licensed certified public accountant with over 10 years experience in corporate and public accounting. I have an extensive background in accounting, audits, and taxes. And I'm all about helping you take control of your money and live smarter. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on all notifications. And don't forget to check out our blog site where we post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In this video, I'll show you step by step how to create a zero based budget that works, even if you're not a finance expert. This is probably one of my favorite things to talk about is zero based budgeting. I do this in my personal life and hope it creates value for you in whatever you're trying to reach. Let's establish what is a zero based budget. A zero based budget is exactly what it says it is. At the end of the budget, everything should be zero. So once you look at your bank account, however you set your budget up, whether that's weekly, bi weekly, or monthly, it should be zero. It's going to help you to track your spending and prioritize savings. Every dollar gets a job. So even for your savings, that's going to be a job for your dollar. Even your income has a job. Everything has a job. Now that we know what a zero-based budget is, let's go through step one, which is calculating how much money you bring in. We're going to include all money that is reliable that we have coming in. That's anything that is truly reliable. We're not going to do anything unpredictable or that we can't really all the way count on. So this is going to include your regular income from either your work or if you have a business. You're going to want to add up all your side hustle or freelance work that's pretty consistent. And if your hours fluctuate and you really don't bring in the same amount every month, then we'll just take the monthly average or the biweekly or weekly, however you want to set your budget up. It's totally okay. As long as we get a roundabout amount of what you think your earnings is going to be if your income fluctuates. Remember, we're only including money that is reliably accessible. We don't want to count things that are unpredictable, such as overtime, any bonuses that we may receive, or any work that may be hit or miss once in a while. We only want the stuff that we know is guaranteed to come in. So that way we can set our zero based budget up. Step two is really important. We're going to list all of our expenses, no matter how big or how small they are. First, we're going to start with our fixed expenses. This is going to be our rent, our utilities, insurance, any loan or credit card payments. These are basically the expenses that we have that won't change from month to month. They're not going to fluctuate depending on the month, depending on the flavor of the week. These are ones that we know exactly what they're going to be. No matter what, they're not going to change. And if they do change, it's usually some kind of yearly thing where they're going up. And then next, we're going to list all of our variable expenses. This is going to be groceries, gas, eating out, anything that could change from month to month, depending on what's going on and how much we are going to use, what our output is to our input. And then we're going to list all of our financial goals. We're going to say how much do we want to, we're going to list how much we think we could save. We want to put any additional things to debt repayment, and we're going to list those investments. Remember to review your bank statements or download a budgeting app to make sure nothing is forgotten. The biggest thing that most people forget in their fixed is those subscriptions. Those subscriptions, you want to list those as well. Even if they're small ones, like if you pay for Netflix for $10 a month, you're still going to want to list that out. And if you're a big time gamer, for those game phones on the games, I remember Candy Crush was a big one. You're still going to write those down if you spend money on that kind of stuff. Everything gets written down. Again, nothing is too big, and especially at this point, don't think that anything is ever too small to write down. The purpose is to bring us to a zero based budget. Here's the magic. Step three is to assign every dollar a job. Keep going until your income minus your expenses equals zero. Let's take a look at a quick example of a zero-based budget. So what we're going to do is we're going to allocate every dollar into our income minus expenses equals zero. That's why it's called a zero-based budget. So for example, let's say our income for this month was 2,500. We put our fixed expense of rent, we know it's going to be 1,000. We put another fixed of utilities for 200. Then we have our variables, which is going to be our groceries of 300. Our savings should really be fixed. It's going to be 200. Our debt is going to be 500, and personal, which that could be anything, is 300. Notice the savings there. Let's take a look at an example. Remember, we're going to allocate every dollar until our income minus expenses equals zero. That's the purpose of a zero-based budget. So let's say for the month, our example here, we have a $2,500 in income. We have rent of 1,000, which is going to be part of our fixed expenses. Groceries for $300, that's going to be part of our variable expenses. Utilities at $200, which is normally going to be a fixed expense depending on how your utilities are set up. And then we have our savings, which is highlighted in red, and we'll come back to that, of $200, which is going to be fixed. Our debt payment, which is going to be $500, that could be variable or fixed depending on the type of debt. And then we have personal, which is going to be $300, and that could be variable because we don't know exactly what personal is. That could be anything for you. So if we add up all our expenses, that comes up to $2,500. And then we subtract it from our income of $2,500, that gives us zero. Notice that savings is highlighted in red of $200. And I said to you earlier that this is a fixed expense. One thing a lot of people forget to do is they forget to pay themselves and treat themselves like a bill. So when we set up this zero-based budget, you have to put yourself as a fixed expense. That's the only way you'll get ahead is by actually forcing yourself to save and treating it like a bill. That $200 is going to go straight into our savings account. It's going to help us to get ahead and save up for that emergency fund, that vacation, or for Christmas gifts next year come around. So we're not feeling behind uh, behind on the wheel. So remember to put yourself on here as a bill and treat yourself like a bill. Once it's gone, it's gone. There's no coming back. What do you do if sometimes expenses are higher than income? Or maybe you have extra money left over when you're doing your budget? If your expenses are higher than your income, then you need to cut back. Maybe there's some subscriptions, maybe you have a problem with dining out, or maybe you have a problem with too much entertainment. Or maybe you're spending money somewhere else where it's leaking out. Maybe too much on groceries, you could cut back. But you have to find somewhere to cut back because you have your expenses is higher than what your actual income is. So we need to adjust. And on the opposite side, if you have more income than expenses, then you have to decide where to put those extra dollars to go. Do you want to save? Do you want to invest? Or put those extra money towards your goals? Maybe if you have some debt, if you're not debt free yet, maybe you put that towards paying down a lot of that debt. Remember, the goal is that every dollar works for something meaningful. Nothing is left in the bank. We want everything to be at zero because every dollar gets a job. Creating a budget isn't enough. You have to also track your spending throughout the month to make sure that we're staying within those budgeting parameters that we set. You can use an app, spreadsheet, or simply old school pen and paper. You just have to do something that you feel like you can use, be consistent with, and be able to track your spending. Remember, we're going to compare our actual spending to our budgeting plan. So we're comparing our budget to our cash flow. We have another video up on our channel where you can go back and check out budgeting versus cash flow. And then we're going to adjust in real time to avoid overspending. So if we see that we might be overspending, we're going to cut back somewhere else and vice versa. Remember, tracking shows patterns. This is going to help us to stay accountable. It may even unveil some surprises that you may not have known about yourself within your budget. Maybe you spent more money somewhere else on snacks, subscriptions, takeout than what you expected. And that's okay. Awareness is knowledge, and it's the first step to helping us take back control of our finances. A zero based budget is a living plan. Life changes, bills change, and your budget should too. Review what works and what didn't. Remember to adjust your categories as needed. Maybe you spend a lot more in your snacks and takeout and category than you do in groceries. So maybe you want to adjust and start cooking at home and just cutting down on that. Or maybe you overspent in your groceries, but maybe you're able to cut back because you're not eating as much as you were before. Just remember, adjusting is okay. Remember, you're going to want to set new savings or spending goals. Consistency is key. Even a rough budget is better than none. A zero based budgeting works because it forces you to be intentional with every dollar. Here's what a zero based budget can do for you: it'll reduce your waste and unnecessary spending because now you're more aware of where each dollar is going and what its job is. It prioritizes savings and debt repayment. Remember, you're going to put yourself on there as a line item for savings. You pay yourself first. Treat yourself like a bill. Once it's gone, it's gone. And it helps you to set those priorities for debt repayment. So now you can see exactly what you're paying off. It'll give you a clear picture of your financial health. So no more guessing in the dark and just throwing darts at a dartboard without really having any strategy or game plan. With the system, you'll know exactly where your money is going each month. So, start with 1 month and refine as you go. By the second month, you'll have a system that works for you. If you found this helpful, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe and share with a friend. Let's take control of your money. Every dollar counts. Next week, we will be breaking down how to manage money in your 20s.